Success is what we all want, isn't it? But have you ever stopped to wonder why only a small fraction of people truly achieve it? Why do some soar while others struggle? The answer might surprise you. Think about this for a moment. In any field, in any endeavor, about 2/5 of people rise to the top. They're the ones who make it big, who leave their mark on the world. The other 98, well, they often find themselves wondering what went wrong, why they never quite made it. Now, you might be thinking that's just how it is. Some people are lucky, some aren't, but I'm here to tell you that luck has very little to do with it. The difference between the 2 and the 98, it comes down to something much simpler, yet far more powerful. It's all about how you think, your mindset, the way you approach life and its challenges. You see, the 2 succeed, think differently from everyone else. They see the world through a different lens. And that makes all the difference. Let's take a closer look at what sets these high achievers apart. First and foremost, they have a clear vision of what they want. They don't just drift through life hoping things will work out. No, they set their sights on a goal and pursue it with everything they've got. Think about the last time you really wanted something. Maybe it was a promotion at work, or perhaps you were training for a marathon. Remember how focused you were, how every decision you made was in service of that goal. That's how the 2 live their lives every single day. But it's not just about having a goal. It's about believing, truly believing that you can achieve it. The 2 have an unshakable faith in themselves and their abilities. They don't let self-doubt creep in and sabotage their efforts. Now, I'm not saying they never have moments of uncertainty. We're all human, after all. But the difference is they don't let those doubts stop them. They acknowledge the fear, the uncertainty, and then they push right through it. Let's compare that to how the 98 often react to challenges. They hit a roadblock and think, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, and just like that, they've given up before they've even really started. The 2, they know something that the 98 often forget. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every setback, every mistake, every failure is just another step on the road to achievement. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall down countless times. But do they ever think, well, I guess walking isn't for me. I'll just crawl for the rest of my life? Of course not. They get back up again and again until they master it. That's the mindset of the 2. They see failures as lessons, as opportunities to grow and improve. They don't let setbacks define them or derail their dreams. Instead, they use those experiences to fuel their determination. Another key difference, the 2 take full responsibility for their lives. They don't blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their situation. They understand that they are the authors of their own stories. This is a powerful realization because if you're responsible for where you are now, that means you also have the power to change it. You're not at the mercy of fate or chance. You're in control. The 98, on the other hand, often fall into the trap of playing the victim. They point to external factors to explain why they haven't succeeded. The economy is bad, they might say, or I didn't have the right opportunities. While these things can certainly present challenges, the 2 find ways to succeed in spite of them. Now let's talk about action, because all the positive thinking in the world won't get you anywhere if you don't actually do something. The 2 are doers. They don't just dream about success. They work for it every single day. They understand that success is not an event, it's a habit. It's the result of consistent, dedicated effort over time. They don't wait for the perfect moment to start working towards their goals. They know that the perfect moment is now. The 98 often fall into the trap of procrastination. They say things like, I'll start my business when I have more money, or I'll write that book when I have more time. But here's the truth. There will never be a perfect time. The 2 know this, and they start anyway. They also understand the power of small, consistent actions. They know that big achievements are usually the result of many small steps taken day after day. It's not about making huge leaps. It's about moving forward, even if it's just an inch at a time. Think about building a brick wall. You don't just slap all the bricks up at once. You lay them one by one, carefully and consistently. That's how the 2 approach their goals. They take action every day, no matter how small, to move closer to what they want. Another crucial difference is how the 2 view learning and personal growth. They have an insatiable curiosity, a hunger for knowledge that never quite goes away. They're always looking for ways to improve themselves and their skills. The 98, however, often stop learning once they're out of school. They get comfortable with what they know and don't push themselves to grow further. But in a world that's constantly changing, standing still is the same as falling behind. The 2 are lifelong learners. They read books attend seminars, seek out mentors, and are always open to new ideas. They understand that the more they learn, the more valuable they become and the more opportunities open up to them. They also know the value of surrounding themselves with the right people. The two, they seek out others who are successful, who challenge them to be better. They know that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with, so they choose their company wisely. The 98 de Asos, on the other hand, often stick with what's comfortable. They hang around people who reinforce their current habits and beliefs, even if those habits and beliefs are holding them back. They fear change and challenge, so they stay in their comfort zone. But here's the thing about comfort zones. Nothing ever grows there. The two understand this. They're willing to be uncomfortable, to stretch themselves, to face their fears head on, because that's where growth happens. That's where success is born. Now let's talk about persistence. This might be the single most important factor that separates the two from the 98. The ability to keep going even when things get tough, even when it seems like you're not making progress, even when everyone else has given up. The Tuis have grit, they have determination. They don't give up at the first sign of trouble or the second or the third. They keep pushing, keep trying, keep believing, long after others would have thrown in the towel. Think about some of the most successful people in history. Thomas Edison tried thousands of materials before he found the right one for the light bulb filament. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter was accepted. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. What if they'd given up? What if they had listened to the doubters, the naysayers, the voice in their head telling them it was too hard? We'd be living in a very different world. The 98 often give up too soon. They try something once, maybe twice, and if it doesn't work out, they decide it's not for them. They interpret temporary setbacks as permanent failures. But the two know. They understand that success often comes just after the point where most people give up. Another key difference is how the two handle fear. Everyone feels fear. It's a natural human emotion. But the two don't let fear paralyze them. Instead, they use it as fuel. They understand that fear often shows up when you're on the brink of something great. It's a signal that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're growing, so instead of running from fear, they lean into it. They see it as a challenge to overcome, not a warning to retreat. The 98, however, often let fear hold them back. They stay in jobs they hate because they're afraid of change. They don't pursue their dreams because they're afraid of failure. They don't speak up because they're afraid of what others might think. But here's the truth. On the other side of fear is where the magic happens. It's where you find out what you're truly capable of. The two know this, and they're willing to face their fears head on. Let's talk about focus. In today's world, we're bombarded with distractions, social media, emails, notifications. It seems like everything is vying for our attention. The two have mastered the art of focus. They know how to tune out the noise and concentrate on what truly matters. They understand that time is their most valuable resource, and they guard it fiercely. They don't waste hours scrolling through social media or binge watching TV shows. Instead, they use their time intentionally, always working towards their goals. The 98, on the other hand, often let distractions rule their lives. They react to every ping and notification, letting others dictate how they spend their time. They procrastinate, putting off important tasks in favor of immediate gratification. But success doesn't come from doing what's easy or immediately pleasurable. It comes from doing what's necessary, even when it's hard. The two understand this, and they have the discipline to stay focused on their priorities. Another crucial difference is how the two view problems, where the 98ings see obstacles. The two see opportunities. They have a knack for turning challenges into chances for growth and innovation. Think about some of the most successful businesses out there. Many of them started because someone saw a problem and figured out how to solve it. They didn't complain about the problem. They took action to fix it. The TUI approach every problem with the mindset of, how can I solve this? They know that within every challenge lies an opportunity. And they're always on the lookout for those opportunities. And the 98, however, often get stuck in complaining mode. They focus on how unfair the situation is or how difficult the problem is to solve, but complaining never solved anything. Action does. And that's what sets the two apart. Let's talk about adaptability. The world is changing faster than ever before. Industries that were booming a decade ago are now obsolete. New technologies are constantly reshaping how we live. In this environment, the ability to adapt is crucial. The two are masters of adaptability. They're not afraid of change, they embrace it. They're always looking ahead, anticipating trends, and preparing for what's next. When change comes, they don't resist it. They flow with it, finding ways to turn it to their advantage. The 98 on the other hand, often resist change. They cling to the way things have always been done, even when it's clear that those methods are no longer effective. They get left behind, wondering what happened to the world they knew. So here's the thing. Change is the only constant in life. You can't stop it. You can only choose how you respond to it. The two's to see change as an opportunity for growth and innovation, and that mindset makes all the difference. Another key factor is how the two view competition. They don't see others as threats to be beaten. Instead, they see them as motivators, as challenges to rise to. They understand that true success isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about being the best version of yourself. They use competition as a way to push themselves to strive for excellence. But they're not obsessed with what others are doing. They're focused on their own journey, on constantly improving themselves and their skills. The 98, however, often get caught up in comparison. They look at what others have achieved and feel discouraged. They see someone else's success as a threat to their own. But this kind of thinking only holds them back. The truth is there's enough success to go around. The two know this. They celebrate others' successes knowing that it doesn't diminish their own. They understand that we all rise together. Now let's talk about resilience. Life isn't always fair. Bad things happen, plans fall through. The two have an incredible ability to bounce back from setbacks. They don't let adversity crush their spirit or derail their dreams. They understand that resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties. It's about how you respond to them. They face challenges head-on, learn from them, and come back stronger. They see adversity as a teacher, not an enemy. The 98, however, often crumble in the face of adversity. They let setbacks define them. They give up when things get tough, convinced that it's not meant to be. But the two know better. They know that the road to success is rarely smooth. It's full of bumps and detours, but they keep going anyway. Another crucial difference is how the two approach risk. They're not reckless, but they're not afraid to take calculated risks. They understand that without risk, there can be no reward. They're willing to step out of their comfort zone, to try new things, to put themselves out there. The 98 often play it safe. They stick with what's familiar, even if it's not fulfilling. They're so afraid of losing what they have that they never reach for what they really want. But the two know that the biggest risk of all is not taking any risks. Think about it. Every great achievement in history started with someone taking a risk. Someone daring to do something different, to challenge the status quo. The two are willing to be those people. They're willing to take the leap, even when they're not sure where they'll land. Let's talk about gratitude. It might seem odd to mention this in a discussion about success, but it's actually a crucial factor. The two have a deep sense of gratitude for what they have, even as they strive for more. They understand that success isn't just about achieving goals. It's about appreciating the journey. They're thankful for their successes, yes, but also for their failures, for the lessons they've learned, the people who have helped them, the opportunities they've been given. The 98, however, often focus on what they lack. They're always looking at what others have, feeling dissatisfied with their own lives. But this kind of thinking breeds negativity and resentment. It saps your energy and motivation. The two know that gratitude is a powerful force. It keeps them positive, motivated, and open to new opportunities. It helps them maintain perspective even when things get tough. And it makes the journey to success a lot more enjoyable. Now let's talk about discipline. The two have mastered the art of self-discipline. They don't rely on motivation or inspiration to get things done. They show up day after day, whether they feel like it or not. They understand that success is not about doing extraordinary things. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently over time. They have routines and habits that support their goals. They do what needs to be done, even when it's not fun or exciting. The 90-80, on the other hand, often rely on motivation. They wait to feel inspired before taking action. But here's the truth. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. Discipline is what gets you through when motivation fails. The two don't wait for the perfect conditions to start working towards their goals. They create the conditions they need. They make time for what's important, even if it means sacrificing short-term pleasures. Another key difference is how the two view money. They see it as a tool, not an end in itself. They understand that true wealth is not about having a lot of money. It's about having the freedom to live life on your own terms. They're not driven by greed or desire for material possessions. Instead, they're focused on creating value. They know that financial success comes as a result of providing value to others, not from chasing money for its own sake. The 98 often have an unhealthy relationship with money. They either obsess over it or avoid thinking about it altogether. They see it as something scarce, something to be hoarded. But the two understand that abundance comes from a mindset of generosity, not scarcity. Let's talk about time management. The two are masters of their time. They understand that time is the one resource you can never get back, so they use it wisely. They prioritize ruthlessly, focusing on activities that move them closer to their goals. They don't waste time on unproductive activities or mindless distractions. They're intentional about how they spend every hour of their day. They know that how you spend your time is how you spend your life. The 98H, however, often let time slip away. They procrastinate. They get caught up in busy work. They spend hours on activities that don't contribute to their goals. And then they wonder why they never seem to have enough time to pursue their dreams. But here's the truth. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. The difference is in how we choose to use them. The two make every minute count. They understand that every decision, no matter how small, shapes their future. So they approach decision-making with care and intention. They don't let fear or indecision paralyze them. Instead, they gather information, weigh their options, and then take decisive action. The 98 often struggle with decision-making. They second-guess themselves. They worry about making the wrong choice. They let others influence their decisions too much. But the two know that a good decision made quickly is often better than a perfect decision made too late. They also understand the power of saying no. They know that every yes to something is a no to something else. So they're selective about what they commit to, always keeping their long-term goals in mind. Let's talk about habits. The two know that success is not about grand gestures or heroic efforts. It's about the small things you do every day, consistently over time. They've cultivated habits that support their goals and eliminated those that hold them back. They understand that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So they create systems and routines that make success almost inevitable. They don't rely on willpower alone. They structure their environment to support their objectives. The 98, however, often struggle with consistency. They start strong but can't maintain momentum. They let bad habits creep back in. They make excuses for why they can't stick to their plans. But the two know that your habits shape your life, so they take control of their habits. Another key difference is how the two view failure. They don't see failure as a reflection of their worth or abilities. They see it as feedback, as valuable information that can help them improve. They analyze their failures, learn from them, and use those lessons to do better next time. The 98 often let failure define them. They take it personally, they let it shake their confidence, they use it as an excuse to give up. But the two understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. It's a necessary step on the path to achievement. Think about any skill you've mastered in your life. Did you get it perfect the first time? Of course not. You failed many times before you succeeded. The two apply this understanding to every area of their lives. They're not afraid to fail because they know that each failure brings them closer to success. Let's talk about patience. In today's world of instant gratification, patience is a rare quality. But the two understand its value. They know that real, lasting success takes time. They're willing to delay gratification, to put in the work now for a payoff that might be years down the road. They don't expect overnight success. They understand that progress often happens slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. But they trust the process. They keep showing up day after day, even when they can't see immediate results. The 98, on the other hand, often get discouraged when success doesn't come quickly. They jump from one thing to another, never sticking with anything long enough to see results. But the two know that persistence and patience are the keys to long-term success. Another crucial factor is how the two approach challenges. They don't shy away from difficult tasks or situations. In fact, they actively seek them out. They understand that growth happens when you're challenged, when you're pushed out of your comfort zone. They see challenges as opportunities to prove themselves, to develop new skills, to become stronger. They don't wish for an easy life. They wish for the strength to endure a difficult one. The 98 often avoid challenges. They stick to what's comfortable, what's familiar. But in doing so, they limit their growth and their potential. The two know that every challenge you overcome makes you better equipped for the next one. Let's talk about self-awareness. The two of them have a deep understanding of themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses, their values, their motivations. They're honest with themselves about where they excel and where they need to improve. This self-awareness allows them to make better decisions, to choose goals that align with their values, to work on improving their weaknesses. They don't try to be someone they're not. Instead, they focus on becoming the best version of themselves. The 90-80 often lack this level of self-awareness. They might pursue goals that don't really align with their values, or try to force themselves into roles that don't suit their strengths. But the two know that true success comes from authenticity, from being true to who you really are. Another key difference is how the two approach feedback. They actively seek out feedback even when it's difficult to hear. They understand that constructive criticism is a gift. It's an opportunity to improve, to see blind spots you might have missed. They don't get defensive when receiving feedback. Instead, they listen with an open mind, consider it carefully, and use it to become better. They're not afraid to admit when they're wrong or when they need to change course. The 98 often avoid feedback. They take criticism personally, they get defensive, they make excuses. But the two know that feedback is essential for growth and improvement. They see it as a tool for success, not as a personal attack. Let's talk about the power of focus. The two have an incredible ability to concentrate on what's truly important. In a world full of distractions, they know how to tune out the noise and zero in on their priorities. They understand that trying to do everything means doing nothing well, so they choose their battles wisely. They focus intensely on a few key areas rather than spreading themselves too thin. They know that depth is often more valuable than breadth. The 98 often get caught up in the trap of multitasking. They try to do too many things at once, and as a result, they do none of them well. But the two know that focused, deep work is what leads to real progress and achievement. Another crucial factor is how the two approach learning. They're not content with just knowing things. They want to understand them deeply. They don't just memorize facts. They seek to grasp underlying principles and concepts. They approach learning with curiosity and enthusiasm. They're not afraid to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, to dig deeper. They understand that true knowledge isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing how to find them. The 98 often approach learning as a chore, something to be endured rather than enjoyed. They learn just enough to get by rather than striving for mastery. But the two know that in today's rapidly changing world, the ability to learn and adapt quickly is more valuable than ever. Let's talk about the power of networks. The two understand that no one succeeds alone. They actively build and nurture their networks, surrounding themselves with people who inspire them, challenge them, and support them. They're not just looking for what they can get from others. They're always thinking about how they can add value to their relationships. They understand that the more you give, the more you receive. The 98 often underestimate the importance of networks. They might see networking as insincere or manipulative. But the two know that your network is your net worth. They invest time and energy into building meaningful connections. Another key difference is how the two approach work. They don't just work hard, they work smart. They're always looking for ways to be more efficient, to get better results with less effort. They're not afraid to question established methods or to try new approaches. They understand that busyness is not the same as productivity. They focus on results, not just activity. They're willing to put in long hours when necessary, but they also know the importance of rest and recovery. The 98 often equate long hours with hard work, even if those hours aren't productive. They get caught up in busy work and doing things that don't really matter. But the two know that it's not about how many hours you put in, it's about what you put into those hours. Let's talk about the power of vision. The two of you have a clear, compelling vision for their future. They know where they're going and why it matters. This vision guides their decisions, motivates them during tough times, and gives meaning to their efforts. They don't just have vague dreams or wishes. They have specific, vivid goals that they've thought through in detail. They can see their success in their mind's eye, and they work backwards from that vision to figure out the steps they need to take. The 98 often lack this clear vision. They might have general ideas about what they want, but they haven't really thought it through. They let life happen to them instead of actively shaping their future. But the two know that if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Another crucial factor is how the two approach obstacles. They see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as challenges to be overcome. They understand that the path to success is rarely smooth or straight. It's full of twists and turns, ups and downs. But instead of getting discouraged by obstacles, they get energized. They see each obstacle as an opportunity to prove themselves, to become stronger, to learn something new. They know that the biggest opportunities often come disguised as insurmountable problems. The 98 often let obstacles defeat them. They see them as signs that they're on the wrong path, that it's not meant to be. But the 2 know that obstacles are a natural part of any worthwhile journey. They expect them, they prepare for them, and they overcome them. Let's talk about the power of belief. The 2 have an unwavering belief in themselves and their abilities. This doesn't mean they're arrogant or overconfident. It means they trust in their capacity to learn, to grow, to overcome challenges. They understand that belief is a choice. They choose to believe in themselves even when others doubt them, even when the evidence seems stacked against them. They know that belief is the foundation of all achievement. The 98 often struggle with self-doubt. They let past failures or current difficulties shake their confidence. They listen too much to the naysayers, the critics, the doubters. But the 2 know that if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. Another key difference is how the 2 approach change. They don't just accept change, they embrace it. They see change as an opportunity for growth, for innovation, for improvement. They're always looking ahead, anticipating changes in their industry or field, and positioning themselves to take advantage of new opportunities. They're not afraid to be the disruptors, to challenge the status quo, to try new things. They understand that in a rapidly changing world, the ability to adapt and evolve is crucial for success. The 98 often resist change. They cling to what's familiar, even when it's no longer serving them well. They get left behind as the world moves forward. But the 2 know that change is the only constant in life, and they're ready to ride the wave of change rather than being swept away by it. Let's talk about the power of purpose. The 2 are driven by something bigger than themselves. They're not just working for a paycheck or for personal gain. They have a sense of purpose, a mission that gives meaning to their efforts. This purpose might be to make a difference in their community, to solve a problem that's important to them, to create something that will outlast them. Whatever it is, it's something that gets them out of bed in the morning, that keeps them going when things get tough. The 98 often lack this sense of purpose. They might be working just to pay the bills or to achieve some arbitrary definition of success, but the 2 know that true fulfillment comes from pursuing something meaningful, something that aligns with your values and passions. Another crucial factor is how the 2 approach creativity. They understand that creativity isn't just for artists or writers, it's a crucial skill in any field. They cultivate their creativity, always looking for new ideas, new solutions, new ways. They're not afraid to think outside the box, to challenge conventional wisdom, to make unexpected connections. They know that the most valuable ideas often come from combining concepts from different fields or looking at problems from a new angle. The 98 often stick to what's tried and true. They follow established paths. They do things the way they've always been done. But the 2 know that in today's world, innovation is the key to success. They're always pushing the boundaries, always looking for a better way. Let's talk about the power of action. The 2 understand that knowledge without action is useless. They don't just learn things, they apply what they learn. They don't just make plans, they execute them. They know that the best idea in the world is worthless if you don't act on it. They're not paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. They understand that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. They're willing to start before they feel ready, to figure things out as they go along. The 90-80 often get stuck in planning mode. They're always getting ready to get ready. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity. But the 2 know that the perfect moment never arrives. They create their opportunities through action. Another key difference is how the 2 approach failure. They don't see failure as the end of the road. They see it as a detour. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every failure brings with it valuable lessons. If you're willing to learn from them, they don't let failure define them or discourage them. Instead, they use it as motivation to work harder, to get better, to prove the doubters wrong. They know that the only real failure is giving up. The 98 often let failure defeat them. They take it as a sign that they're not good enough, that they should give up. But the 2 know that every successful person has faced failure. The difference is in how they respond to it. Let's talk about the power of continuous improvement. The two are never satisfied with the status quo. They're always looking for ways to get better, to learn more, to achieve more. They understand that if you're not growing, you're falling behind. They set high standards for themselves and constantly push those standards higher. They compare themselves not to others, but to their own potential. They know that the gap between where they are and where they could be is where the real opportunity lies. The 98 often get comfortable. They reach a certain level of success and then coast. But the two know that in today's rapidly changing world, standing still is the same as moving backwards. They're committed to lifelong learning and growth. Another crucial factor is how the two approach time. They understand that time is their most valuable resource. They guard their time fiercely, using it intentionally and productively. They know that how you spend your time is how you spend your life. They're not just busy, they're effective. They focus on high-value activities that move them closer to their goals. They're not afraid to say no to things that don't align with their priorities. They understand that every yes is a no to something else. The 98 often let time slip away. They get caught up in low-value activities, in distractions, and other people's priorities. But the two know that time is the great equalizer. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's how we use those hours that makes the difference. Let's talk about the power of resilience. The two have an incredible ability to bounce back from setbacks. They don't let adversity crush their spirit or derail their dreams. They understand that life isn't always fair, that bad things happen to good people. But instead of complaining about their circumstances, they focus on what they can control. They don't waste energy on things they can't change. They adapt, they persevere, they keep moving forward no matter what life throws at them. The 98 often crumble in the face of adversity. They let setbacks define them, discourage them, stop them in their tracks. But the two know that it's not about what happens to you. It's about how you respond to what happens to you. Another key difference is how the two approach risk. They're not reckless, but they're not afraid to take calculated risks. They understand that without risk, there can be no reward. They're willing to step out of their comfort zone to try new things, to put themselves out there. They know that playing it safe might feel comfortable in the short term, but it often leads to regret in the long term. They'd rather try and fail than wonder what if for the rest of their lives. The 98 often play it too safe. They stick with what's familiar, even if it's not fulfilling. They're so afraid of losing what they have that they never reach for what they really want. But the two know that the biggest risk of all is not taking any risks. Let's talk about the power of accountability. The two take full responsibility for their lives and their results. They don't blame others, they don't make excuses, they don't play the victim. They understand that they are the authors of their own stories. This sense of accountability empowers them, because if they're responsible for where they are now, that means they also have the power to change it. They don't wait for someone else to fix their problems or create their opportunities. They take charge of their own destiny. The 98 often look for someone or something to blame when things don't go their way. They point to external factors to explain their lack of success. But the two know that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond.